Hello! So, what do I have here today? This is my modification for a simple automated tiny crafting system. So RaiseWorks did a video on this a while back where he used torches in his design and a kind of a slower clock but a similar layout where you could use an item frame and item in the item frame comparator and it would detect exactly which items were selected. A link to that video will be in the description if you want more information on that. And after not getting a response in Discord from him when I immediately sent him something similar to this design, showing him improvements for the clock speed and layout, I didn't get any response. It's been about a month now, I think, so I decided I'd finally just make the video myself. Now this was inspired by a comment I got where somebody mentioned the observer clocks, and I'm not even sure that this is what he meant, but I decided to make this. So let's just go over quickly exactly what an observer clock is. If you face an observer back to back, just like this, you'll get a really simple clock. And you can see that that's, pretty decent speed. But if you push the observer in with a piston, let's just demonstrate that, it's actually twice as fast. So it's a little bit hard to illustrate without that going anywhere, but you can clearly see that changes. And then this is just something I'll show in a little bit. So what this design does is you can select whatever ingredient you want. So this would be redstone dust, stone, wooden planks. I did all the ingredients for a piston, and then I just added stone as a filler, and then some examples like sand and gunpowder to make TNT. So you could select this, and it will dispense once, and I'll show a modification for that later. I don't really like that, but this is just a proof of concept. And then you just turn on the system, and it completes it pushes forward all the different observers, which makes a really fast clock, but it will only actually make a clock for the item that you've selected. This keeps the lag down quite a bit as I get a text. And in this way, there isn't a ton of redstone blinking all over the design like it otherwise would have, and that kind of leads me straight into explaining this. So if you don't want it to click right when you dispense it, which I mean you're going to be crafting it anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal, you could easily replace these observers with normal solid blocks, and then instead of having pistons like this, you could just connect this to a comparator clock as demonstrated here. Or you could even connect this to an observer clock like I've been using and just bring that stream around just like so and have something like repeaters right on these blocks. It would work the exact same way. It would be a lot more redstone, but it wouldn't click when you select your ingredient. Now this is entirely expandable. This is just a tiny little example. You can make this go as long as you want. You could take out these middle 4 ingredients and then have this be like a T shape. That would be one of the more optimal ways. You could stack this upwards. I don't really care. This is really just a proof of concept. I will show a kind of a tutorial on how to build this, but I'm not really sure that it's necessary. No, I take that back. I really don't think it's necessary. I will show you kind of what's going on here. So the way that I fill the items to the droppers is kind of unique. I found out a long time ago that if you do something like this, if you have 2 inputs going into this hopper, it'll overflow and it'll evenly distribute its items between two outputs. So you can see this dropper and that dropper are getting the same exact amount of items. And in this way you can easily kind of regulate it between all of them. Now of course once it's completely filled up, this will back up and then this will back up and then it'll be a little bit uneven, but at that point I'm assuming that you've put in enough items to where that's not a problem. Again, on the proof of concept part, I wouldn't really use this design personally because this clock isn't really, here, you know what, let's just select a piston while I'm talking. This kind of clock really isn't fast enough for me. It's only 10 items per second, which is a significant improvement to Ray's design that I kind of worked this off of. In fact, he got a lot of I would imagine the inspiration and a lot of the ideas for his concept from my previous designs, like the Matrix crafting system, but he kind of ditched their layout and went with his own thing, even though I assured him that it could be much faster, like here. And then this would just dispense all the items you want. So to craft, you just take a stack of pistons. Let's get out of this real quick. So to craft, here, let's just clear my inventory. You would take something like a stack of pistons, like so, and then you go into survival mode, and then you would turn on the clock, and then you take the ingredients and then just do the 1 key. And then you just kind of alternate between the 1 key and the 2 key, and then you can craft just like so. This is a really nice way of crafting pistons. In fact, I said that I wouldn't use this design personally, but I take that back for some items. For pistons, I've used this a similar layout like this in my matrix crafting system on our old world, and I crafted about 34 stacks in 5 minutes. So this is significantly better. And of course, I only have chest inputs here. You could easily put hopper sorters on top of this. This is kind of a build it your own concept design. I'm not gonna show you what to do. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. I'll work something up for you. But I think this is a really cool way of really keeping down on the wiring. So like, there will be that initial lag of all the pistons extending depending on how big you make this thing. But after that, it's just the absolute minimum amount of redstone going on. So I think that just about covers it. One more added detail, I suppose, is something like this, where this is just kind of a clock that I set up with hoppers and comparators that will dispense exactly a stack of items, and then it'll turn itself off. And then when you invert it, it'll do the same thing. So let's get away from that noise. This is just kind of a layout of that clock. So there will be a world download if you're interested. Just put the amount of items you want plus 1. So the amount of items you want, half of that. So if you want 64, put in 32 and then just add 1. And then this will dispense exactly a stack. This is just a simple idea. I've done this before. It's really nothing new, but this is just a way to regulate the items if you don't want a constant clock. And then if you distribute this over all the ingredients for a piston, just like that, you've gotten exactly a stack, and then you can craft and do whatever it is you do with pistons. Now, of course, this can be used for any item in the entire game. You could set this up with all the different dyes and then wool. You do, whatever you're crafting. So I think that just about covers this design and how you can change it. A tutorial shouldn't really be necessary. There will definitely be a world download. Comment section is yours to ask away. Easy to contact on Discord, a link in the description below. And that about covers it for me, so thanks for watching.